Alright, in this episode we are going to find out how to bring a car, how to set it up in Blender and bring it to Unreal and drive it about like a joyrider. So let's figure this out and get it done. Alright then, so starting in Blender, we need to do a few things to set this vehicle up for transfer. First things first is the scaling. You want to make sure if you hit the scene tab right there, I think it's the scene tab, yep, scene properties, open up the units, drop down, make sure it says metric there, meters in the length, and 0.01, so just 0.01 in the unit scale, and turn on separate units. That makes it easier to read what's going on. It's got meters and centimeters there. Then you're going to want to scale this up because this will actually be really small. Wheels aren't going with it. This will actually be really small, so you need to scale it up so that the vehicle is around on the x-axis or whatever axis your vehicle is facing on. Should be about 3 meters ish. You have to Google the vehicle you're actually using to find out the length of it. And the way to do that is if you select all and then select the body, so the body is yellow and everything else like the wheels are orange. Whatever's yellow will show up in this item drop down here, so make sure that's the body so you can see how you know, the width and length of it. Another thing you need to do is make sure it's on the x-axis, so that if you go into front view, the car should be facing to your right along the x-axis. The front of the car should be on the positive x, and you know, center it as best you can. It hasn't got to be perfect, but if we can try and get it the best we can in the center there, then that's cool. And then what we need to do is bring in, I always do that, bring in a armature. We're going to bring in an armature. You're not going to be able to see it because we've scaled things up so big. Also my cursor isn't in the middle, so I'm going to center that, and I'm going to bring that to the center. There we are. So my armature is in the middle. In your armature settings, you just make sure in front is ticked so we can see it, and then just scale it up. It doesn't matter how big. Scale it up enough so you can see it like that. Again, it doesn't matter how big it is. Then we need to rotate it along the x-axis, so it's facing the y. So rotate x minus 90, so it's facing along the y toward the back. That's the way Unreal likes it to be done, so that's what we will do. In edit mode, with the end here selected, we want to extrude along the y-axis. Hit Y twice, and it'll go along the y-axis. And with this bone selected, because if we try and move it now, it's connected to that bone. We don't want that, so we're going to Alt P and then disconnect bone. And now you can move it, and you can see the line, the dashed lines connecting it, which means it's parented, which is what we want. Right, so now we just need to Shift D 3 times to get, so we got 4 of them. And then we need to snap each one of these to a wheel. So to do that, tab out into object mode, select the wheel, and make sure your wheel or object origin is in the center, because obviously they need to wrong button, there you go, they need to be able to rotate, and that's a little bit wobbly. It's not perfect, but it'll do. This model, by the way, is from Blend Swap. You can download this. I have adjusted a few things like the wheels. I put a texture on the wheels and I potted about here and there, but it'll do for this tutorial. So if you want to download this, go to blendswap.org, I think, or .com, one of the two, and search for BMW E36, and you'll find this model. You can download it and use it. Right, so now we need to snap each bone to each wheel. So select the wheel, hit Shift and S, and then put cursor to selected. So the cursor is now locked to the origin of that wheel. Now select the armature, tab into edit mode. This is a bit of a process, but we have to get it done. So one of the bones selected. Now hit Shift and S again and put selection to cursor, so it locks it to that center point there. Tab back out and do this for each wheel. So Shift S, cursor to selected, select the armature, tab into edit mode. We want to keep that one in the center, so select these 3 bones, any one. Shift S, selection the cursor, and there it is. Tab out into there. Shift S, cursor to selected. Tab that. We're going to use this one. So this bone 2. Yep, that's fine. Selection the cursor. So just keep doing it. Oops, wrong one. Undo. Cursor to selected. Select that. Tab in edit mode. Bone 3. This is the last one. And there you go. So all the bones now, they've got one for each wheel and one for the center point of the car. That's fine. We now need to name these bones. So with each one selected, or what I've done by the way as well, and you need to do this, is with each wheel, so name them. I've got front left, front right, just put FR, FR, rear left, rear right. So you want to do the same with the, we're going to do the same with the bones. So this one is front left. So where are we? We are in a bone there. So front left, and then this one, rear left, this one, front right, FR, and then that one at the back there is rear left, rear right, RR. And this one in the middle you can name whatever. You can keep it as bone, whatever, doesn't matter. I'm gonna keep it as body. The armature's name itself doesn't matter. Armature 01, whatever, armature. Just leave it as it is really. In fact, I'll just switch it to armature. Right, so that's done. Now we need to select all the bits of the car, so all the wheels, and then the armature itself. And click Control P to parent, but we want to do with empty groups. So what this will do, if you select a part of the mesh like the car, what it'll do in your vertex tab down here, it will create some vertex groups using the names that we gave the bones. So those are the bones, body, and then all the wheels. So now we need to, with each one selected, we select the body first. That'll do. I want to tab in edit mode, select all, and then click body up there and assign. So now select each wheel, select all into edit mode. This is the front left, front right, sorry, front right, assign, and then the rear right, select all, rear right, assign, select all. This is the front left, assign, and then the rear left, assign. So there we go, we are good. And you can test this out if you select the armature and Control Tab to go into pose mode. You can press rotate now and you can see that, or G, and you can see the whole wheel goes with the, there you go, it's all working fine. Select these just to make sure. Yep, nothing else that shouldn't be affected isn't affected, so that's good. And then the body, which is this one, everything should move with it. Yep, happy days, we are good to go. Alright then, now we want to make sure that everything is set, so scale. So although we scaled everything up, well, I have done it on this one but not on the armature. So let's just select all and Control A, rotation and scale, so that now all these should be ones and all these should be zeros. Happy days. And then we're good to go. We can now export. So let's go up here, let's go down there, let's go down to FBX, and it's popped up on the wrong screen. I've already tried this once already just to remind myself. So over here what you need to do is you need to select armature and shift select mesh. You've got those two selected. Selected objects is always good. Make sure you've selected everything in there, just in case you've got cameras or whatever. Get rid of cameras and lights if you don't want them, or just don't select them. So selected objects only. Scroll down, and then your forward, it needs to be X forward, and then up is Z up. Apply units, yeah, you can keep that on. Geometry, change this smoothing to face. Apply modifiers, yes, because you may have subsurface modifiers and whatever, so you want to apply them on export. And armature, uncheck add leaf bones. That would be checked. Uncheck it, and then you're good to go. Give it a name and then export. Awesome. So once that's done, we're going to go over to Unreal. Alright then, so in Unreal we're going to start a new project. I'm using a blank template. You can use whatever you want to, and I'm going to leave everything default, no starter content because I don't need it, and I'm going to call this test drive. Name it whatever you like. Alright then, so with it started up, I'm just going to take a second to make this bigger on the X and Y axis so we can have some ground to drive around. I will quickly make a folder. I'm going to call it BMW, and inside of there I'm going to make another folder, just label it mesh. So I'm going to put the mesh stuff inside of there to keep the blueprint separate. Here is the FBX, so I'm going to drag this and drop it in the folder. Keep everything as default. Skeleton mesh should be checked. Import mesh should be checked. Scale should be 1. And materials, it will create materials and import them. All's good there, so just leave everything as default and hit import. This could take some time depending on how detailed your mesh is, how many vertices there are, how many materials there are, etc, etc. So just give it a minute. Oh, there it is. This is quite quick. So first of all, I'm just going to select all and hit save, just to save them in case we get a crash. No pun intended. And once it's done, I think it takes longer to save them than it did to import. Alright, that did take quite a while, and I think it's because the shaders were compiling, so it's probably a good idea to wait for them to compile before you save them. I don't know. But the first thing we want to do is open this one here, the physics asset. And we're opening on the wrong screen. So when it opens up, you get a bunch of capsules. So we want to select the body, and we want to change it here from capsule to single convex hull. Hit regenerate, and that's done. Hit save, close that. Next thing we want to do is go back up to this folder here where we can create our blueprints. So let's create a blueprint, and we will hit the down arrow on that. Type in vehicle, and you get wheeled vehicle and vehicle wheel. We're going to do both, but right now we're going to do wheeled vehicle. Select that and hit select, and then rename this to whatever you want. I'm going to call it BMW BP underscore BP. Hit enter on that. Let's open him up. Now first thing we've got here is the mesh, so we're going to select that, and over here we're going to select our BMW. So there is our mesh, and then we're going to hit add component and bring in a spring arm, and then we're going to hit add component again and bring in a camera. So let's select the spring arm, and that's the red thing there that kind of tethers the camera to the car. So with the spring arm selected, we're going to hit over here and drag it up to take it back a bit, and then we're going to lift it up a little bit and rotate it, I don't know, to about there. That looks good. Compile and save, and I'm going to keep this open. I'm going to dock it up there because we'll need that a bit more. In the content browser, I'm going to right click and go to blueprint class again. This time typing in vehicle, we're going to go for the vehicle wheel. Select that one, and I'm going to type in, I'm going to call it BMW wheels. Hit enter, and that's all we need to do there for now. We need to go back in there in a second and sort that out. Back in the blueprint of the BMW, we want to select the vehicle movement up the top. On the right, we got wheel setups. We're gonna hit the down arrow. You got 4 wheels here. We're gonna expand each one of these, and in these drop downs for each wheel, you're gonna select BMW wheels that we just created. And then for the name, we need to put the bone names, which was like FR. Start with the front, just keep it clean. FL, front right, front left, and we're gonna do rear right and rear left. That's what we named our bones. Whatever you named, you cut your your wheel bones in Blender. That's what you need to put in there. And both the rear wheels here, we want to disable the steering on both of them because that would just be crazy if they steer. So we're gonna compile and save. Back in the content browser, let's right click, go to animation and animation blueprint, and we want to select vehicle anim instance, and we want to select our BMW. That's the only one we got. Click OK, and now we can rename this to BMW anim instance. Happy days. Let's open that up. Inside of here, we're going to pull out of this little man, and we're going to type in handler and decheck the content sensitive, and you'll get wheel handler for wheeled vehicle. Hit that, you get 2 nodes. Don't know why they place them the way they do, but there you go. And then this one, then we're going to drag out, we're going to type in pose and then turn content sensitive back on, and you get mesh space ref pose. Hit that, line it up nice, and that is all you need to do. Hit compile and save, close it down because you won't need that again. Inside your BMW blueprint, you want to select our mesh, and over on the right under the animation tab, you got anim class. You want to select the BMW anim blueprint. That's the one we just created. Click compile and save. And take a breath. Right, now let's do the programming part of it. Get this car on the road. Oh, one thing we need to do first is go to your project settings. If it's not up here, then you'll find it in the edit window there. Project settings. Go down to input, and we need to set up some inputs here under the access mappings. So let's do that. Click the plus arrow and hit the down arrow thing, triangle. The first one we're going to call accelerate, and I'm going to put forwards. Oh man, Mike, I got a new keyboard and the keys are, there you go, keys are a bit different. Oh, what's going on? Right, here we go. Forward slash reverse, I just call it that. You can call it whatever you want. And we're going to use a keyboard W there, and we're going to add another one and use a keyboard S. Couldn't think of the letter S. So we got the forward and the back. The back obviously which is the S, the reverse, which needs to be -1. Then we're going to add another one, and it's going to be called vehicle turn. Let's call it that, whatever. And then we're going to use, of course, the A and D. So the A is the minus because that is turning left. That's the minus, and we're going to add a plus again and put D there, and that's the plus. So that's all good, hunky-dory. Hell yeah, let's do it. And we're going to add 2 more just for fun. They're not absolutely necessary, but I like to do it. I'm going to do it for the camera control. So there's going to be cam X, and that is going to be the mouse on the X. And then I'm going to do an oh, I deleted the whole thing. Can I undo that? Yes, I can. Wow, okay. I meant to hit that one. Right, access mapping again, and we're going to call this cam Y. And you guessed it, we're going to use the mouse Y. Right, and you can also put in the gamepad controls, whatever. But this is all we need for now, so that's all I will cover for this one. Right, back in the blueprint, let's do the programming, get this engine working, and so forth. Let's get the input for the accelerate. So accelerate, and we want the access events. That's the one. Oh, saving. Okay, and we will also get the vehicle turn access event. So that's those 2, and we're gonna pull off this top one, and we're gonna type in throttle, and we get throttle input there. And we're gonna pull off this one and get steering. I spelt that wrong. Steering. So we got that one. Don't need that really. We can just use the same one for the two. Should plug that into the target, make it look a bit neater and more efficient. So there you go. That's it, guys. That is it. So, oh, hang on. I always forget this. Access value needs to be plugged in, otherwise it won't work and you will scratch your head a lot. Right, we also need to do the camera control. So let's type in cam X. This should be the input up the top, the access event cam X, and we put cam Y there as well. They're both there. We're going to pull off the top one and put add relative rotation on the spring arm. So the bottom one there, add relative rotation on the spring arm, not the camera, the spring arm. And we're going to do the same by putting that in the middle. Let's drag this down because we need to right click this and do split struct pin, and then we can just copy that and paste it there. Connect that up, connect the spring arm up to the target. Happy days. And then the green of the Y goes into the Y node there, but the X goes down to the Z, and there you go. All good. So now we can place our vehicle into the scene, which I haven't done yet. So grab the blueprint there, the BMW blueprint, plop him in. Can bring him up a little bit. Let's press play. We're not getting anything because this is the other thing I keep forgetting to do is let's go into the blueprint, select the self, and we want to, where it's got auto possess player, we want it to auto possess because we haven't got any characters in the world as of yet. And auto receive input, plug him in, put him there, and then compile and save. I like to play it in the new editor window because that way you can pop it up because on the wrong screen, but there you go. So there you go. So let's click in and activate that. There is our vehicle. We can move the camera around, we could drive forward, we can stop, we can reverse, we can turn the wheel and drive, and it works. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You will notice though that the wheels are floating off the ground, and I will show you why, and so that you understand why that is the case. One other thing I don't like is the camera. Let me just change the camera thing here because I hate the inherit, pitch, yaw and roll. Don't like that. I like the camera to be freely controlled by the mouse, and that is it. Right, as far as the wheels not touching the ground, if your wheels are above the ground, or sometimes they may be in the ground, they may have fallen in the ground. I don't know if this will work if I press simulate. Yeah, there you go. So if I press simulate there, you can see the wheels are above the ground. Yours may have fallen into the ground. Sometimes that happens. It depends on what you've set it up like. So either way, what you need to do is open the wheels that we created earlier, BMW wheels, and the shape radius. That is the problem. Now the way to work this out, if I just open up my blend file. Alright, so this is the blend file of the BMW. If you select a wheel, it'll tell you here, and make sure items selected up there. It tells you here 44 centimeters. We're looking at the Z and the X values. They should be the same, but they're not quite. A perfect circle, obviously they would be the same, but they're not. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Point is 44 centimeters tall. Now that in Blender is showing you the actual measurement from the top of the wheel to the bottom, which is the diameter. So it's 44. In Unreal is asking you for the radius, which is the measurement from the center of the wheel to the edge, which is going to be half that. So we're looking at 22. Why isn't it not? There you go. Oh, yep. 22. Hit enter. Hit compile and save. Go back into here, and let's hit simulate again. And you can see the wheels touch the ground. So if yours are bigger, obviously, then you need to basically just half the length that it shows in Blender, and you've got your radius. So if I play it again now, you can see my wheels are touching the ground, making contact. Right, another thing, if you pick up some speed here, look at those wheels, they look terrible. We can't be having that, so what we need to do is go to project settings, up in the search bar, type in motion, and you get motion blur. Uncheck that box. That is nasty. I don't like that box. I don't like it at all. And if you press play, screen's over there, and now we can drive as fast and as far as we want with no motion blur, no ugliness. So we've just got the wheels. Let's see if I can hit the brakes before I fall off the edge. Yes, I can. So there you go, guys. That is the car, and it works. Oh, one other thing as well. Look at this differential. Look at those wheels. Wow, 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 you are. Now, there's not many cars that turn this kind of angle. I don't know why this is set up as the default. So to change that, go back into your vehicle wheels, which is right here. We've got steering angle is set to 70%. I don't get why. I find, I think 45 to be more realistic. Let's hit play, and the thing's over there. So, oh, maybe not. Yeah, that looks about right. Yeah, if we did a U-turn, kind of, most cars turn in circles about that. You know, you can play with that. It'll be different depending on the vehicle anyway, because all different vehicles have different kind of turning angles. So anyway, that is that. Looking good, working well, and this is how you set up a car. So I will do a separate video on setting up the light system to get headlights and to get reverse lights and brake lights set up, so that when you reverse, the lights, the reverse lights come on and so forth. I'll do a separate video on that. That will be coming soon. So hit the like button, subscribe, comment, whatever, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much. Ciao, blah.